Hey YouTube, welcome. I wanted to do a video tutorial, I guess, on one of my favorite licks. And it's not difficult. It's one that I play a lot, and I'm sure a lot of guys do. It's pretty common, I would think. But the lick is based on the drag and single drag tap rudiments. So it's going to go like this. It's really simple, right? We're basically playing 16th notes, but we're going to put a 16th note triplet drag or double on the bass drum. Okay, so what we got is we're going to go. The first stroke is going to be on the floor tom with the right hand. 16th note triplet drag on the bass, okay, followed by 4 strokes on the snare drum. The first 2 are alternated, right, left, and then the last 2 are ghosted, right, left. Okay, so you got floor tom, 2 bass drums, right, left, right. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play that pattern over and over, just so you can hear it. All right, let's try that. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, so now let's take this pattern and actually turn it into a film. We're going to just start on count 1. Okay, and so the counts. Again, I count 16th note triplets as 1 to li, and to li, 2 to li, and to li, and then I count 16th notes as 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So again, the whole thing is 16th notes except for the 2 bass drum notes. Okay, so we're going 1 to li and a, 2 E and a li, 3 E and a, 4 to li and a, 1. Okay, 1 to li and a, 2 E and a li, 3 E and a, 4 to li and a, 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it slow again. Okay, and I'm going to count that out for you as a 1-bar fill, nice and slow. Okay, so that's the basic lick. That's it. Okay, so from there, what I want to talk about is just a couple of basic variations. Okay, that you can sort of add in the sticking itself, and then after that we'll talk about just some basic orchestrations. Okay. So one slight variation you can do is on that last left hand. Okay. Right, you got the floor tom, the 2 bass drum notes, and then the right, left, that last left hand, instead of ghosting it, you can accent it, okay? And that's going to sound like this. Okay. All right, so all I did was accent that last left hand, okay, which does change it up a little bit, okay. Now, as far as which one you should play, I mean, both sound great. So I think it's really up to you. I play both ways, depending on the song and the feel of it and the tempo and other factors like that, okay. Another added variant that you can put into this is that that ghosted right hand. Okay, so you're going floor tom, 2 16th note triplet bass drums, then right, left, right. Okay, that second right hand, which is ghosted, instead of playing that as a single, you can drag it as well. Okay, and when you do that, again, these drags, you want them to be open. Okay, you want them to be more of a 16th note triplet drag as opposed to a 32nd note drag. So make sure that the drags are played very open on the bass drum as well as on this right hand if you choose to do that. Okay, and that's going to sound like this. I'll do it nice and slow. Okay, so there's a couple of little like variations that you can use. Okay, all right. So now let's talk about just some basic orchestrations. And really, the only thing that I do is, again, you have a few notes in the snare drum that you can play with as far as moving around. Okay, so one idea I like to do is I always start on the floor tom. That I haven't really altered. Okay, you definitely can if you want to, but I always play that first note on the floor tom. Okay, you have the double bass drum hit, and then that right left, the accented right left. A lot of times I like to go right left and just move the left hand up to the rack tom. Okay, so let's do that one real quick. Okay, and again, all these little variations as far as that accenting that last left hand or adding a drag on that second ghosted right. You can add these little variations to any of these various orchestrations. Okay, so let's try that real quick. Okay, so there you go. There's a basic orchestration that I like to use, and that's probably that, and just keeping them on the snare drum. All those four snare drum, all those last four right left on the snare drum, or I'll use that little orchestration I just did there. Those are the main two that I use. They're not the only. That's not the only way you can do it. Again, experiment. That's just the main two that I like to play. Okay. You can also, that last left hand, instead of bringing it back to the snare drum, you could just keep it up on the rack tom. So go floor tom, foot, right, left, and keep that last left up there as opposed to pulling it back. That's up to you. Ultimately, mess around, move this stuff around, and just experiment. Okay. But when I did that, I did do all the variations as far as I did it with just the default normal way. I did it adding in the accented left hand on the end, and I also did it adding in the drag on the right hand. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, the last thing you'd want to do is just experiment with starting on different places. Okay, different places within the beat. Okay. So one area I like to do instead of count one is to start it on the and of 4. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like real quick. Okay, so as you can see, it gives it a slight change in the phrasing by pushing it back and starting it on the and of 4. So I recommend, just like with any idea, practice starting it in different spots other than just count 1. Okay, because you'll definitely find that it's different. Okay, depending on where you start it. Okay, so there I definitely mixed up the orchestrations as well as the variations to the sticking. So anyway, that concludes this idea. This is one of my favorite licks to play. I play it all the time just because it's a great sounding lick and it always works. It sounds nice and snazzy without being too busy. All right. So I hope you enjoy it. So mess around with it, see what you can do with it, and stay tuned for other videos to come. All right. Take care, guys. See ya.